Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks, another match of Beyond All Reason, where today we're going to be taking a look at a lower level game of Beyond All Reason that was played on Bismuth Valley. Already off to a bit of a strange start here. Yeah, okay, spawning in the wrong position here, our blue team leader that goes by the name of Avenger K. I was looking at this for a second and thought, yeah, this is not the correct position, right? Spawning right behind Orange Juice here, rather than over on the metal extractors over here. Avenger K coming in at 19 true skill, going to be showing us what he's got. A little bit slower on the draw here, though, because spawning in the wrong position, of course, means that you're going to be a little bit behind as far as getting those metal extractors up. So we'll see if maybe the blue commander, manages to hold on, or whether that metal disadvantage is going to come back to bite him. Either way, across the map in exactly the opposite position, both on the northern side and the western side here, goes by the name of Cupcake, a Cortex commander, already with all 4 metal extractors up and ripping and roaring, and gonna be showing us some Cortex bot action. Love to see it. Bismuth Valley, it's a full lanes map, so there's no backliners, there's no techers, at least not normally. You could sort of play it that way if you wanted to, and it's a little risky to do it that way, but it's not necessarily the worst option. You just have to be a little bit more coordinated with your team. You have to make sure that you take all your spots and make sure all the lines are covered here. Sometimes what we do see is this player here, where Renegade Trav, the Maroon commander, sometimes what we'll see is this commander will open with something like bots or vehicles in order to claim these metal extractors, this metal extractor, and then sort of these metal extractors down here, and then eventually transition out of that. Sometimes it can be Madavu as well. Can claim all these. Basically, whichever commander claims this little area right here can afford to do something other than push forward on the front lines, right? Because you need someone to hold this line, you need someone or multiple someones to hold that line, and then you need a couple people in the middle of the map, and then you need usually 2 people on the southern side of the map. So that does leave you with about 1 commander extra. So right now it's going to be Ladybird, fitting name for the air player here for the red team, going to be going into some of that Cortex air. That does mean shurikens, that does mean, of course, those higher power bombers, the whirlwinds. Should be some good stuff here. Getting a fighter out and running, I think that's probably a good idea. Do we have an air player here for the blue team? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, it looks like the blue team is taking a more traditional route, a more standard route. The Eddie Show going to be marching forward right here. So this is what I'm talking about. The Eddie Show could easily transition out of vehicles here after all this is locked down, captured, and well fortified. And then we can have something like Blazing Blazed and Avenger K, Mom's FWB, holding the front lines right here, and then allowing the green commander to actually go into some of that airplay. So will the air start to be well worth it here for the light pink commander? Well, if we can see some early damage, then I think it would definitely be well worth it. Tricky, very tricky to pull that off, especially if the other team is going to be good at harassment. But so far, only a couple of ticks have made it across the map here. They are headed in the right direction, though. Yeah, they're going to spy the hot pink commander here. Nicely done. Avoid the commander. Heading for the base. There is an LLT in base, but they're probably... Yeah, we could probably pick off these 2 in the back line right here. Oh, no. Well, okay. Down go the ticks right there for Mom's FWB. Going to be, losing those ticks on the other side of the map to an LLT. Not ideal, per se. Not the end of the world, but not ideal. We do have a Rascal over here as well, and it's going to start blasting away here. I think we should probably prioritize the metal extractor. Are we going to kill that? Well, we might actually kill that LLT. No, second constructor is here to help, so I think that LLT will finish. I think we sniped the metal extractor, and I think we're going to be all good. Yeah, very nicely done. Getting the snipe on that metal extractor doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it really does shut down. I mean, when you think about it, about a third of the economy right here for the Tan Commander is that LLT, or is that metal extractor, pardon me. We do have some more coming up on the front lines, though. There's also these valuable points on this map as well, the 2.8, so it's well worth capturing those whenever you can. LLT gonna deny any further aggression right here. We sniped a wind turbine over here, but we didn't snipe another one. Would have loved to see these metal extractors in the backline prioritized, but either way, any damage you can get with those early scout craft is gonna be well worth it. A couple of pawns running forward, doing their little jog, and they are adorable when they're doing their little jog. Love it. I feel like I don't appreciate all too often how adorable each unit is in this game, how well modeled everything is. Down to the smallest pawn, they all have these adorable little animations. I absolutely love it anyways. LLT will stay up and running for H. Pascal, going to mean that these pawns are deflected. Heading up towards Anarchy BBK, going to be trying to hold the line here. There's some maces out already, and maces will definitely slap down these pawns. That is if they can hit them. There we go, not doing a bad job yet. One metal extractor falls, but I think that's a fair price to pay right here, as the commander can just rebuild all that quite neatly, and the maces are already heading up to this northern front line. So this is one of those tricky situations right here. What do you do as far as how many players are you going to put on this top part and how many players are you going to put on this bottom part? What we essentially have is actually a dichotomy. We have 2 players on the northern side versus 1 player, and then we have 2 players on the southern side versus 1 player here for the blue. Should be interesting. Whichever one caves first is, I suppose, going to be the one that ends up winning out here, because of course whichever one wins their lane can come and attack the back line of the other, right? So you have this little sort of a lock system, where lock and check system, where they kind of balance each other out more or less based on who wins what lane and what side manages to actually get a positional advantage. Should be interesting to see. Love that we've claimed all these metal extractors here for Florida Man. Well-renowned, crazy Florida Man. Gonna be going for a forward bot lab. All right. Have we eaten up the bot lab in the back line? Not yet. We could. Certainly could. It's idle right now. If we're gonna go for the forward bot lab, that shows to me that we're getting ready to do some serious aggression. So I think if I see this forward bot lab, what I expect to see is probably a whole bunch of Rocketeers, maybe some res bots. Be really aggressive with the push right here, try and push back Cupcake. Hopefully, eventually go southern and yeah, take this path down to this direction and cut off all the reinforcing forces here for Wind Diesel and the Maroon Commander Renegade Trav. An ideal engagement there for those pawns. Nice little concave setup right here from the Maroon Commander. Plenty of reinforcements to keep this all steady. H. Pascal in a little bit of trouble here. I don't think the Cyan Commander realizes the, maybe Aquamarine, maybe that's a better color for it. Anyways, I don't think the Blue Commander here realizes just how much trouble they're actually in. Yeah, those Maces are stepping forward. Rocketeers are going to hit the field pretty soon here as well. Bilbo T. Baggins going to be de-gunning down some of these tanks right here from the Blue Commander. Very nicely done. Orange Juice 90 also building a front line here. Actually very little opposition. I would love to see a little bit of a run by. Yeah, I mean, I think a couple Blitz tanks could swarm past this and take down at least a couple of these metal extractors on the front line here. How much metal is that per second coming in? 8.1 metal per second right there. You could probably pretty easily deny. This is a lower level game though, so I'm being more suggestive. I'm trying to suggest more solutions rather than being so critical, but you know, it helps. It helps to analyze these things, especially, I mean, even my own gameplay. I love to look back at those games and figure out moves that I could make, and obviously these players are working with the fog of war too, so they don't exactly have the perfect map vision that we do. That intuition about your enemy's strength level is one of those things that you only get from playing Bar for a good long time. Medium tanks do go down here. That was a relatively good fight right here. Shell Shocker definitely shouldn't be on the front lines fighting here, but Pyther Bro going to be, well, was thinking about de-gunning down that tank. Didn't end up being necessary here. Yeah, Orange Juice is stepping forward right now. I'd love to see reclaim on this. I think whichever one of these players reclaims this field right now is going to have a huge advantage as far as producing more tanks goes. Usually that's how this thing kind of goes. Ironically, the vehicles in the naval battle can end up being similar, just because of the way that it sort of snowballs. Mass Centurion on the front line here. Interesting. Okay. I don't hate it, but we do have 2 twin heavy laser towers over here. Yeah, Cupcake knows exactly what the situation is. So Cupcake aware of the fact that there's essentially this has been a 2 versus 1 for a good long while, despite not having 2 players worth of pressure being applied right here, because a lot of these units have just been idle as Anarchy is controlling them down south. Eventually we've sort of equalized here as Anarchy ended up focusing a lot of his forces down south here to try and push back these 2 players versus just leaving some of these units idle. I would definitely recommend just handing over these units to Florida Man here. Florida Man calling for help right now. The help is standing right here, but it's standing idle. Centurions dancing their way around these rockets right here. Trying to, anyways. Those heavy laser towers are quite nice here. So what I was saying about Cupcake is that they've done an excellent job of reading this and realizing, wait a second, what I actually need to do here is just set up a fallback zone and then apply pressure just enough that I don't get overrun right now. And that's exactly what we see right now. Heavy laser tower is finally set up here. The Overwatch set up for the Green Commander Florida. Commander. We've got more Centurions going down. Ooh, yeah. Expensive bot to lose that easily on the front lines. Those heavy laser towers do make short work of them. Surprisingly heavy investment on the heavy laser towers up there. I like it for the Red Commander because they were on the back foot, but now with more reinforcements coming here, it's time to apply pressure. Not bad. We have the construction turrets here to repair everything. That's also a nice little move. Yeah, these idle maces over here, these really hurt. There's at least, I want to say at least a couple hundred metal, maybe even a couple thousand. Well, 1,000 at the very least. Loads and loads of maces go down right there. Not ideal. Trigger is finally pulled. We do have a forward heavy laser tower up here. Gonna be blasting away whatever it can. All right. I don't mind it one bit. Down goes the commander over here as well. Very nicely done. Ah, the ping fest starts. A classic APM overflow here from Florida Man as we begin circling and pinging and all sorts of other stuff. Just like that, the blue team is in a terrible, terrible situation right here. Nobody reacted to the cries for help, the pleas for assistance right here from Florida Man. And so now there's a massive army marching forward on the battlefield here. At the very least, they should be marching forward. They're sort of idled right now. There we go. They're going to start stepping forward here and wiping out all these metal extractors. Centurion, lone Centurion, the hero of the battlefield, going to be marching up to this spot. I don't think it's really going to be able to achieve all too much. Pascal has got a gauntlet up on the southern side right here. This army is going to have to be deflected. We have the lab and we have the resources right now. We're just not producing anything. Instead, we're talking in chat. Not usually very useful here as far as the battle is concerned. Definitely should probably turn the factory back on and start producing things. Meanwhile, more hopeful for the blue team on the southern side here as the commander does go down to an LLT. That's, yeah, Pyther Bro learning just how dangerous those LLTs can be to a commander. A couple of beamer turrets set up over here too, actually. Really, really like that. The beamer turrets are excellent against these units, as you can see. Tons and tons of bots lying in ruin over here, blasted down by those beamer turrets. And we have construction turrets here as well to help repair everything. Love to see it. Wouldn't even mind seeing these guys reclaim all this. 1.8 thousand metal set up right there. Absolutely beautiful. Gauntlet over here on the low ground has been set up. Firing away at those tanks. Not bad. Bots have made it all the way to the base over here. This is a tricky situation. Eventually reinforcements did come to deflect this attack, and the Centurion is receiving a back massage from all these constructors here to try and keep it in the fight. It will stay standing. Centurion's extremely durable if you put a little bit of resurrection or repair power behind them. Nicely done. All right, all said and done. That attack was deflected quite nicely here. We have a couple of metal extractors that were left destroyed here, but as long as we get those back up and running, the green player is definitely not out of this game yet. That being said, red team definitely has a nice advantage. We're going to be building more heavy laser towers. Now is not the time for heavy laser towers. It's time we disassemble all these. We've had a huge push right now, so what we should do is disassemble the 3,360 metal worth of heavy laser towers, turn it into a T2 lab, and then go for that T2 transition. Propagate T2 through the whole team, claim our metal extractors. That's also important here. Actually, the yellow commander, Wind Diesel, has gone for T2. Feels a little bit greedy, but I guess they've had nothing to do on this front line right here, so we've had more than enough time to just go ahead and build those T2 units. The red team definitely has all the right tools here to start winning this game. The beamer turrets, though, beautiful. Man, those things are sturdy. They really can shut down an effective push right there. Very nicely done. Love the mass beamer turret. I feel like we don't see beamer turrets utilized as often as we really should. Those turrets are absolutely devastating. Very, very nicely done by the blue commander. Locking down this whole area, making it extremely costly for anybody to push in here. We do have a proper T2 wow, we have a lot of T2 transitions here. We have a solid 7 T2 constructors building advanced metal extractors. It's not the end of the world. Those advanced mechs are going to come up pretty quickly here, which is always nice. Lightning turret as well as the gauntlet firing away over here. Actually getting some decent value. 1 kill on that one. I was looking at this gauntlet actually. 2 kills on that one. Wow. Okay, maybe not the value that I was imagining. It snipes the other gauntlet though. That's a high value kill, if not a big multiple unit skill. Resbots have been eating everything up over here. I quite like that, actually. I think if we're gonna have the resbots running around, we might as well either reclaim or resurrect. Of course, you can always maximize your metal income by resurrecting and then reclaiming, which I wouldn't even mind at this point. It's a desperate move. It's a risky move, but it's certainly one that can work. Florida Man still going for those. Yeah, still going for those Centurions here. We have a whole bunch of hounds that were just handed over here. Actually, a massive amount of hounds that were just handed over. Really, really nicely done. Looks like those were produced by, I'm gonna guess, Blazing Blazed. produced a whole bunch of hounds and sent them on up there to the green commander. If these hounds get onto the front line, they can definitely shut down all this T1. They'll blast through all these T1 defenses, wasting all the metal here. It only takes a couple of res bots to eat all that up, and then eventually you're going to have yourself a really, really nice situation here. You can actually recover and profit off of the red commander not going up to T2. We do have a T2 transition underway right now. We have the T2 mexes coming up, but there's no build power assigned to it right now, so that's definitely an area where we need to think about focusing some more build power. Shuriken's paralyzing a whole bunch of these drones. This is definitely a sign of one of these lower level games, right? As there's a lot more pork than we usually see. A lot more static defense. I did get a question about somebody asking me what pork is. It's not pig, it's porcupine. It's short for porcupine. Essentially, if you're gonna push into me, I'm gonna sting you back. It's kind of the implied message there. No anti-air. Oh man. Yep. Shuriken in the air, paralyzing whatever they can over here. They've only caught a couple of medium tanks, but there's no air player here for the blue team. We see the air player over here for the red team, and it's definitely worked out quite nicely for the fact that, well, the red team is down a player right now, but they really don't have to worry about it. There we go. Hounds have hit the front line for both teams. And as soon as those hounds start firing, the T1 is going to start to evaporate. Yeah, you can see the thugs and the aggravators, the maces and the rocketeers, all that T1 is going to go down real quick. Doesn't really stand a chance against those hounds firing away. We do need to keep the hounds firing away, though. We need a radar tower over here. Radar would be lovely. Would allow these hounds to fire away at much larger range. The radar tower also grants a long line of sight, so if you build one on the front lines, it can oftentimes be enough line of sight to allow some of your longer range units to actually fire away. It's one of those important things to remember. Yeah, this volley from the hounds, though, is devastating. Very, very nice. There are hounds here for the yellow player, but not nearly as many. I guess the trade-off, though, is that these hounds are not disposable for the green commander. He doesn't have his own hound production up and running yet. So yeah, getting these hounds up on the front lines is making sure you keep them alive is of the utmost priority. Centurion's marching forward here. Love to see it. There we go. All that T1 melting away. Centurion's actually making for a really nice buffer for these hounds. I quite like it a lot. I think with the hounds, it's important that it's more important than usual that you put something in front of them, just because of their relative fragility. They're sturdy enough as is against T1, but as soon as you start going up against T2, it's really important that you start putting something really big in front of them. Welders were great, but obviously Centurions are going to be the next best option here for the green commander who doesn't have T2 production up and running quite yet. Hounds need to be split up, though. If we spread them out and then we move them forward in one concise line, it's going to be really difficult for the enemy to target them down one by one, and we can melt away these heavy laser towers. Heavy laser towers with a range of 620 versus the hound's range of 650 means the hound should win there if they have line of sight, if they have radar tracking. Resbot here single-handedly winning this fight right now. The metal this thing is putting back into the economy right here for Anarchy BBK is what will eventually win this fight, I do believe, on this northern side. We did not go for that T2 transition here. Eventually we're going to get a T2 lab, but this is way too late. We're now working on the T2 lab at the same time as our opponent up here. Means that it's going to come up drastically slower. We do need to get these T2 mexes up and running, though. Definitely should prioritize that. T2 metal extractors, 4 times the metal production. Makes them incredibly powerful. You don't have to be a math genius to realize just how good that is. 4xing your own economy. Renegade Trav actually in a little bit of trouble here. Mostly medium tanks, but there is a heavy tank there. Indicates at the very least to the maroon commander and the yellow commander, everybody dealing with this little run by here, that the green commander is ready to go into T2, and indeed H. Pascal is actually reclaiming on the front lines here with the commander. A little bit risky as we head into the T2 stage of this game, but not the end of the world here. Gauntlet's still dumbfiring into the abyss. Long dead has that gauntlet been that it once was firing at, but I suppose now its job will be to friendly fire as many team units as possible. There we go, and it might get a kill here. Beautiful. Manages to snipe its own Wolverine right there. Very, very nicely done. Beamer turrets still putting in so much work over here. I'm so surprised. These beamer turrets have been so instrumental to holding this line over here, but you can see their sheer DPS is actually absurd. They really can put down some smack. Agitator built over here feels like a very expensive solution to this problem, where maybe just going into T2 would have been much easier to do. We have loads of T2 constructors over here once more. Flame turret's gonna deny this in the other direction. Wow, we actually went for 3 advanced exploiters. I mean, for what it's worth, it will shut down this tank push like nobody's business. Yeah, they fire those rockets. They have the heavy laser as well. Very, very nice. Eventually, one of those will fall, but I do believe the other 2 will be just fine. Energy reserves are depleted right here from the ground commander, though. Bilbo T. Baggins is losing power. Eventually, the tanks are dealt with, as well as all the Janices and everything else. Commander did die over here as well. Good to remember that those commanders going down does bring us closer and closer to an end of the game situation here. That is the win condition after all. Destroy every last commander on your opponent's side. A couple of spy bots or a radar bot or anything really to see out at range would be phenomenal here. The hounds are firing away though. As long as the hounds are firing, this is a pretty good trade. Yeah, those T1 defenses, they really just don't hold up against the hounds. Not really at all. There we go. Nice concave right here. Florida man doing a great job of controlling that concave. You want to maximize your concave here. So every time we micro these back and they get a little closer together, you definitely want to keep spreading them out into a beautiful little C shape, or a backward C shape. As long as it's roughly C-shaped, it'll be fine. Here we go. This is a nice solution. We do have a whole bunch of, not hounds, sorry, Cortex hounds. The Sheldon, firing away at these lone T1 defenses over here. The beamer turrets that have held so strong for so long just don't have the range to keep up with those Sheldon, so down they will go. Bulls on the front line already, though, and we also have a couple of Webbers here. Love to see it. I've been extremely happy with the Weber composition as of lately. The Weber Welder composition is quite potent. Allows you to reclaim all those expensive bots, refund it all, and become a essentially a wall-moving, reclaiming army. It makes for a really, really efficient fight. Absurdly efficient. Going for a fusion reactor here. We are low on metal, so I wouldn't mind seeing maybe these T1 solar panels being eaten up here. Just a humble reminder that 9 solar panels is about 1,395 metal. Quite expensive. Certainly about a fourth of the cost of that fusion reactor here. Maybe a little bit more than that. Almost closer to a third. Medium tanks pushing through, but there we go. We do have a Starlight here to help out. I think the Starlight is the most important piece to this puzzle. It is being besieged by a bull over here, though. Ooh, yeah, that bull's gonna get the kill. Yikes. Excellent little snipe right there by Pyther, bro. Managing to get the bull behind the enemy lines and snipe away at that Pulsar. Or Starlight, rather. Commander will be devoured instantaneously by the spiders. Very nicely done. So those Webbers are 4. They're excellent at reclaiming. They also have that paralytic beam. They can essentially shut down any push with their EMP gun. And then you send any amount of units in after that, and they're going to be more than happy to blast away for free at all those units. We have a pawn spam coming out from all the way on the bottom side here. I'd love to see that switched over to a tick spam. Basically no reason not to. Pawns are just more expensive, and the enemy hasn't shown any signs of Junos yet, I don't believe, anyway. I don't see any. Yeah, Sheldon are pretty annoying, though. Oh, there we go. We do have a Juno of our own here for the blue team. The red team has been given enough time to recover here, but the blue team is definitely using their resources a little bit better. The resbots here are so instrumental. It's hard to convey exactly how important these resbots are to keeping this push alive right here. This is the only reason that the green team has been able to come back from what was otherwise a devastating amount of damage done over here. Yeah, we're just going for more and more eco over here. We can definitely go for more build power. The scaling is just a little bit off right here for the green commander. Aggression wins games. Right now it's the red team being aggressive. So I have to give them the advantage. Again, wouldn't mind a radar bot over here. We do have a radar tower, so that's quite nice, but the radar bot is a little more convenient because, of course, it can move with your units. It's like a static defense, but it can move. Therefore, it is extremely OP. We're going for some heavy walls over here. Okay. This is a cliffside, so if you put units up on this, they will be able to fire off this cliff, off this cliff, and down onto anything over here. So I'm not sure, I'm not sure exactly what the walls are for. I mean, I suppose it stops tanks from rolling in, but I mean, you put any amount of hounds over here, you put any amount of, well, negotiators, for instance, you put any amount of anything, really. Yeah, you're gonna be under quite a bit of trouble. Jaguar tanks now rolling in, gonna be obliterated by all the static defense over here. I don't think they were moving either. Bit of a shame. Recluses, though, gonna be coming out. Recluses have an extremely high upfront damage when they fire. If they can connect their rockets with something, they do a tremendous amount of damage. Case in point, almost obliterating this pop-up tower right there as it ducks behind cover quite nicely. Wow, they obliterated those Sheldon here as well. Why aren't we pushing? The reason for not pushing is lost on me here. I can't figure out why Orange Juice isn't pushing. Oh my good god. I'm not happy to see this. We have 7,500, nearly a T3 Labs, nearly an Aphis' worth of metal going into gauntlets right here. If we throw in the heavy laser towers and all the other static defense, we probably have gotten Aphis. Yeah, 9,330 metal worth of static defense back here, and it's all T1. My goodness. Orange Juice, you gotta get used to dismantling all this stuff. I know the gauntlets look pretty. I know they really do. Those twin barrels are pretty aesthetic, and with the little lights inside of them as well. The cannons are really, really nice to look at. They're not very efficient. They really aren't, no. Gotta get used to reclaiming all that and turning it into something a little bit more efficient here. T2, obviously, is the right answer there, but at this point, you could even go into T3. Gunships are up in the air, actually. A couple of wasps. Okay, not bad. Whoops. Apologies for that, but the gunships are going to have a great time blasting away at all this. Yeah, light anti-air doesn't really scare off those T2 gunships. They are pretty tough. The beamer's actually doing more work than the anti-air, it seems like. Capable of slicing the wings off of those flying predators. Everybody on the southern side is just too scared to push right here, despite this lane being completely well and open. We could push through here with relatively little ease if all of our weight came down on it. Hound's now fighting an entire T2, a T2 versus T1 fight over here. Definitely going to be very efficient. There we go. All this falling immediately. Welders included in this composition too, by the way, so I really like that. Gonna wash away all the chaff, despite the Hounds being in front. Usually you want those in two control groups. You want one for your, or at least that's how I like to control things, is with one control group for the assault units that go in the front line, and then one for the backline units that, fire away from a distance. Hound's, though, going to be more than happy to walk through here and blast away. T1 static defense. Might get a kill or two. There we go. Just like that. Static defense goes down. A couple of missiles are fired over here from these ambassadors. They do hit hard, so if those missiles can connect, it's pretty impressive, but if being the conditional there, a lot of the times those missiles do struggle to find their mark, especially against non-static targets. Why are we stopping the Hounds is the question here. We do have a couple of them that broke through. We have the, at the very least, the Seafoam Green Hounds are going to continue marching their way across here, heading directly into the base of the Tan Commander. Love to see it. We do as well have a Butler on the front lines eating up a whole bunch of this metal over here. As somebody pointed out, the Butler is not the most efficient way of reclaiming on these front lines. I misled a lot of people with my Butler video about how effective the Butlers are. If you don't have a T1 lab, they're pretty good, but definitely the Lazarus is much, much more efficient as far as if you're just going to use them for reclaiming goes. Of course, the Butler does allow you to claim his metal extractors, so if you wanted to throw up some metal extractors or maybe a radar jammer, it does give you that option as well, which is quite nice. We have sharpshooters up here, by the way, for the Seafoam Green Commander and our QBDK. We'll love to see some welders up in front of these guys. Ooh, yeah, they're going to be blasted away by the Sheldon over here. A lot of them missing their shots, unfortunately. Do we have pinpointers up? We also need pinpointers if we're going to be going into sharpshooters. We don't. We have a lot of advanced soars and a lot of fusions, but no pinpointers right now. Have to think about improving that tech, especially for sharpshooters. It's really crucial that you have those pinpointers because, of course, if they fire their shots and miss, you waste a tremendous amount of damage. Yeah, Tremor firing away over here. It's actually Tremor warfare, as these plasma spitters are firing back and forth at each other. The green one will be caught, though, by the Sheldon ball marching forward right here, so I love to see it. Big old Tsar ball over here, though. Yeah, the Tsars are actually quite dangerous. Those Sheldon can't move too close, or else they're going to feel the sting from those tanks. Heavy tanks now marching forward as well. The friendly fire is massive, but the Cortex Commander does not care. We've got a couple of Razorbacks here as well. I'm surprised those haven't been doing any work. Oh my goodness, the economy. Wow. Blazing Blaze, definitely familiar with eco-scaling. Has the economy and the unit production. We're going for mass Razorback right now, and I think that's definitely the right idea. Tried to hand over the units to somebody else here, but apparently that didn't work. Or maybe that was just me selecting them. That could be the case as well. Massive sharpshooter ball over here again, but we're not including the welders here. The welders are a really crucial part of this composition. They make sure that any chaff that comes out, any tick spam or pawn spam or anything like that are going to be cleaned up here. Don't get me wrong, the sharpshooter, pardon me, are extremely powerful, but you need to have something in front of them to soak up damage. The radar and radar jammer bot help quite a lot as well, help you avoid that long-range static defense. It can also be a problem. Appreciate that we're getting aggressive right here from the Eddie show. Moving forward with a whole bunch of these grunts. Or trying to, at the very least. We have this massive Tsar ball and we just aren't doing anything with it. What a shame. Thousands of metal in Tsars. Sitting idly. Speaking of thousands of metal sitting idly right here, Blazing Blaze has built up a massive force of Razorbacks as well. We're looking at 22,000 metal worth of Razorbacks just chilling on the front lines here. At the very least, handed off to a frontline player, I feel like. Sharpshooters eventually bring down the commander over here, and I don't think it'll be too long before they take down this gauntlet either. There we go. All of them taking down the gauntlet together. Definitely want to cloak these at this point. It's actually a bad thing to have them all firing at the same time because they're going to overkill things. It's a lot better if they fire one by one at different targets. There we go. They've sort of spread themselves out now, so they're going to be doing a whole lot more work. We don't have any vision up front, though, so things can actually get within danger distance to these poor sharpshooters, and we're losing them one by one. Don't get me wrong, these have definitely gotten some tremendous value out so far. Blasting away at a whole bunch of different units over here, but my goodness, we could have gotten a whole lot more if we had just included the appropriate units for this composition. Sharpshooters over here could step forward, at the very least the Sheldons are in the front. Again, not ideal here, you definitely want sumos if you're going to be playing Cortex. This is where the magic's happening, though. Razorbacks are finally pulled. They will find some T2 static defense over here, so just about the harshest place for them to push in. Definitely think we should have sent these around the map to somebody or somewhere a little bit less fortified. Not the end of the world by any stretch, but a little bit uncomfortable to send those through. Lose so much metal worth of Razorbacks right there. They can, of course, be resurrected, which is another big problem. Here we go, though. This is a great push. Yeah, Purple Commander is sending... Ooh, well, thinking about sending the Razorbacks. We definitely want to send them. Keep on going. Okay. We're having control issues, it feels like. Losing track of our units right here. At the very least, the Green Commander is taking advantage of the hole that those Razorbacks punch to flood some units on through here. There is a dragon up in the air trying to spew its deadly flames down upon these tanks right here, trying to burn them down. Wouldn't take too much to shoot it out of the sky as far as fighters go here. We do have a nice little fighter wall from the Blue Commander. Avenger K has been building fighters here slowly but surely. These are mostly T2 fighters, though, for the Pink Commander, so it would not be very easy to punch through that wall. And again, the Razorbacks sit and wait and hope and pray. The Razorbacks are marching forward into all the static defense again. The Razorback is not what you use to break through static defenses. You want a Thor, you want a Titan. The Razorback is meant to assault other units. It's not meant for frontline engagements like this. I suppose meant for is a little bit too harsh of a way of putting it. It's that the Razorback excels at dealing with other units, especially lower tier units. It's not great at breaking through those static defenses. Vanguards work too. Basically anything but the Razorback. The Razorback is a very general solution to a lot of different problems, but only if you use them. Unlike these Razorbacks, which are just happily, sitting idle over here. My goodness, we could at least stack the geothermal over here. The Sharpshooters are going to melt these Razorbacks as soon as they step forward here. The Sharpshooters were out of position for the longest time, but now they're going to be more than ready for anything these Razorbacks push forward into. Catapults are also held for the Hot Pink Commander. Good to see. These catapults can definitely tear down a lot of the static defense over here. These are the advanced exploiters over here with the bulwark, so this is actually a better defended area than it really looks like. Still susceptible to nuclear bombing or, for instance, any kind of aerial bombing. The Razorback, actually not a terrible counter to the Dragon. Its rapid fire laser cannons are decent enough against dragons. They do about as much damage as a flag cannon would, so they're tricky in that sense, but they kind of work. For a dragon being 5,000 metal and a razorback being 3,800, I guess they're in the same category of, like, the same class of efficiency. Super heavy. I can't believe we watched all three of those razorbacks just sit there and get demolished. Oh no. Oh no, it hurts. It hurts to see. The worst part of it is the purple commander has such a fabulous economy in the back of this that it doesn't even matter. The inefficiency doesn't even matter because the eco scaling has been so tremendous. You can see the blue team pulling in about 1.5 thousand, whereas the red team, well, based on the reclaim actually from all these units that they've been handily given over, able to keep up here. But yeah, eventually the eco is just going to scale out of control. There we go. We do have a radar and a radar jammer included here now, so the sharpshooter arm blasting away. Do we have a pinpointer back here? These are suspiciously accurate. I'm guessing there's a pinpointer out somewhere on the map right now, which is pretty nice. There we go. Razorback finds some of the catapults. That's a good catch. Catapults 4,900 relative to the Razorbacks 3,800. There we go. Razorback's not very efficient. Doesn't matter. More stuff beats less stuff at the end of the day. The march of the Razorbacks has begun. There we go. This Geo will do a whole bunch of damage to a whole bunch of these as well. I didn't expect a single split. Razorbacks continuing to push forward here. No units are going to stop this many Razorbacks. There's just so much metal on the field at this point. Catapults are great, but they're not going to shut down Razorbacks. You need Karganeth. Mass Karganeth is usually the answer to Razorbacks. Oh, there's the demon. It's got its own little updated graphic now. By the way, I heard that the demon no longer has amphibious quality. I wonder why. I thought the demon was supposed to be the marauder, the answer to the marauder. It's like a late game marauder. But apparently it is not that anymore. Surprisingly enough. I don't know when they changed that. I know it was when the when it was added to the game. That was when they changed it, but I wonder why they changed it then. Frontline is broken now. It's time to push. Absolutely. Absolutely the time to push. A couple of Razorback do make it into the back line, so this is nice. We start blasting away. They're very low health, so you gotta be careful. They could definitely be eaten. Not gonna be the case, though. They just managed to burn everything to the ground. Ladybird, uncloaked. Gets annihilated. At least the commander explosion will take those down. But the midline has already fallen. The Razorbacks are leaking in on all sides of the map. We do have a Thor that was produced here, so that's quite nice. The Thors are much better at siege breaking, just because they're EMP missile. They can completely paralyze any static defense and allow anything else to push forward. Thor Razorback is a really effective composition. One or the other can be a little lackluster, though. You just go into singularly Thors or Razorbacks. However, if you go into 400 of them, it's not really going to matter. Now listen, Aphis is popping right here, left, right, and center for the red team. Renegade Trav feeling the burn of those rapid-fire laser cannons. No commanders are cloaked to this day. Just, you know, gentleman's agreement not to cloak any of these commanders, I suppose. Not that it would matter. This game has effectively been won by Blazing Blaze, who went ahead and decided to build a phenomenal economy and then use that phenomenal economy. We do have a nuclear launcher over here, and it does have a single missile charged. Could certainly do some damage, could wipe out a base or two. Is it enough to recover at this point, though, now that the Razorbacks are marching into the base? Absolutely not. Down goes the yellow production center. A Hornet up in the skies above the red base, targeting an advanced mechs. Feels like the wrong target. And just like that, the red team taps out of this game. Well, I will say it took quite a bit longer to get there than I really would have expected. I think if those units had pushed just a little bit quicker, we could have seen this game end around the 30-minute mark. But either way, we did eventually get there. What a fabulous economy right there from Blazing Blaze, who no doubt takes the Destroying Enemy Resource Production Award, as well as destroying enemy units and defenses, producing the most resources as well. At the very least, looking towards an end of this game. Endgame solutions, definitely difficult to get used to. Definitely difficult to get used to figuring out how to get those up and running. Bombing runs, T3 transitions, all that good stuff. Anyways, sure hope you enjoyed the game today, and be sure to tune in for another one join, subscribe, that's the word for the YouTube thing. You can also like the video if you feel like propagating and helping me out these Beyond All Reason casts. I sure appreciate it. Every like gives me a little rush of endorphins, as well as your comments down below, and I will see you in the next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.